took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms.
This video is brought to you by Birch Gold Group. Brought to you by Birch Gold Group. Listen, Vladimir Putin called the U.S. dollar's drop in dominance objective and irreversible as Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa formally agree to use local currency in trading instead of the U.S. dollar. It's the first shoe to fall. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. As demand of the dollar weakens, the buying power of the dollar weakens. That's why Birch Gold Group is busier than ever. Investors and savers are looking to harness the power of physical gold held in a tax-sheltered IRA. You can too. Text Brandon to 989898 for your free info kit on gold. With thousands of happy customers, an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and countless 5-star reviews, you can count on Birch Gold to help you navigate transitioning an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. As the US dollar continues to receive pressure from foreign countries, digital currency, and central banks, arm yourself with information on how to protect your savings. Text Brandon to 989898 to claim your free info kit today. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notifications. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, I'm at the crib and I have to make this video. People have been begging me, Brandon, please make a video about the New Mexico governor and her violation of the Constitution and the Second Amendment by banning the open and concealed carry of law-abiding citizens, essentially, for 30 days. Let me just read it because I got the article pulled up right here. I'm going to read you some of the details and I'm going to explain to you why I believe that this is a violation of the Constitution and these people are after your guns. They're not after protecting and serving. They're not here for any reason other than to try to find a loophole and a way into slowly but methodically eliminating your constitutional rights to keep and bear arms. Let me just read it to you. It says the ban was issued on this past Friday. Today is, I'm making this video, it's a Sunday. The ban was issued on Friday. It was a public health emergency declared by Ms. Grisham. And it allows the state to access different resources. The executive order, which covers Bernalillo, I'm probably saying that wrong, but I have a public school education, don't worry about it. County prohibits open and concealed firearms on state property, public schools, or public parks, with exceptions only for law enforcement or licensed security guards. It says residents with gun permits can still have weapons on private property. While traveling with a gun, a person must transport it in a way that makes firearms inoperable. That's stupid to me. It says in a lockbox or with a trigger lock, for example, those who violate the order can be subject to a fine up to $5,000. Now, there's another part here that I thought was very important, and I'll probably link the article so you can read it yourself, that is very important because just not being able to carry the gun isn't all. Let me explain to you. It says the governor's order also requires state regulators to inspect firearm dealers statewide every month. So it's just not in the county that covers Albuquerque. This is the entire state. This order is giving them the right to inspect statewide every month to check their compliance with sales and storage laws. And the order directs the state's Department of Health to gather demographic information like age, race, ethnicity, and gender of gunshot victims, informing or information on the brand and the caliber of the firearm involved and general circumstances leading to the injury. Now, let me explain to you why this makes no sense. This has nothing to do with gun safety. According to the governor, because some children had been shot in the Albuquerque County, in that area as of late, she has decided to make this emergency order.
Yeah.
But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carrying license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
Wait a minute. You're talking about crimes. There are already laws against the crimes, so how are their rights?
I got it. But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor,
Yep.
do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
Now, let's put this in perspective. The emergency order won't allow you to carry open or concealed on public parks, schools, government buildings. Now, explain to me how that's going to stop a criminal from going and doing a mass shooting or shooting people anyway. How's it going to stop a criminal? Let me just put this in perspective. So I'm a criminal. I got a gun on me, and I want to do damage or I want to do something to somebody in a park. I'm going to get all the way up to the property of the park and say, man, you know what? Governor Grisham said that I can't have this firearm on this park. So you know what? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go home because I don't want to be in violation of the law. Not the fact that I already had intentions to commit a felony crime, which is murder. What's going to stop me is not murder, the charge of murder, the prison time of murder. What's going to stop me is the fact that she said I can't open carry the gun or I can't conceal carry the gun on the premise. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. They have ulterior motives. They want to go and be able to arbitrarily check these firearm dealers. They want to, put people on notice. They want to be able to fine you. They're not going to do nothing to you, but you could face a fine. Now, we all know that there ain't enough cops to monitor every single person that exists in in that state or that county. There's not enough cops. 99% of people that are violating that specific order will never get caught. Never. And if you do, they want to fear you into the fact that you may have to pay $5,000 as a fine. But the people who want to do damage, that are gang banging, that are thugging, that got murder on their mind, they don't care about concealing or open carrying a gun. 9 times out of 10, you ain't gonna catch them till after they do the shooting. These people have a motive that is not consistent with what they're trying to portray. If they really cared, then they will heighten the penalty of a person who is doing said crime. They don't care about you carrying a gun at a park, because if you're not doing nothing you're not supposed to do with the gun at the park, it is irrelevant. She claims she cares about people who are shooting young people or gun violence. So how about you make an executive order where you heighten the penalty? If you go out and shoot somebody, you murder somebody, you get a heightened penalty than you would before. But having law-abiding citizens not being able to carry their gun because out of fear of less than 0.00001% of people that might commit a crime in the 30-day period. It's just like they did with this stuff. They want to see how far they can go with you. They want to see how much you're willing to give up your rights under the guise of protecting other people. And this time they're using protecting children. It's just not going to happen. Like if they had a gun ban in place, or they had a open carry, concealed carry ban in place on public parks, government buildings, and in schools, If that actually worked, then there would never be a shooting ever. Some of those laws are already on the books. There would never be a shooting ever in the history of this country. You know, if somehow that will eliminate people from getting shot, anybody will vote for that. But it's not real. It's not going to eliminate violence. It's only going to hurt law-abiding citizens and hurt their ability to defend themselves. So when they out and the criminal don't care about a $5,000 fine, they can at least protect themselves. It's really that simple. I don't know how y'all elect these people. They're not genuine. They don't care. Or they're completely stupid. One or both. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. And shout out to the agencies, because the police chief, Albuquerque police chief, and the county sheriff both made mention that this is not reasonable. And we're not, pretty much without saying it, we're not enforcing this. This is not constitutional. You're going to put our officers in a position where they can be liable. They can be personally liable for violating somebody's constitutional rights because the governor is doing something that's not approved according to the Constitution of the United States of America. And as police officers, we're sworn to uphold municipal law and the Constitution above everything. All right. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out.